Hello. This is Antje or Tara, coming to you with a life art meditation today. First of all, hello, and I'm really happy to see you. And you need some materials. You need a piece of paper and some pens. I have a bunch of different color pens. I often just use Sharpies. That totally works. And colored pencils or colored markers for later. And first of all, I'm going to introduce myself a little bit and wait. Maybe somebody comes in, checks in to join. So yeah, my name is Antje. I'm originally from Germany, but I live in California and I'm an artist. And right now, since last year, I work with a technique called NeuroGraphica. And NeuroGraphica is a very simple but very profound art technique that we can use not only to create beautiful things, but to go in a kind of meditative state and to actually answer questions for ourselves or solve problems for ourselves. I remember when I did the very first session, I had this giant breakthrough and aha moment, and I thought, wow, this is great, I gotta learn this. So I learned and I did some courses, and I am a certified specialist in neurographic drawing, and that's why I am here to show it to you and to share it with you. And when I thought about what we could draw today, I wondered, okay, we are in this really kind of interesting time right now, and I was wondering, okay, where do we go from here? Where do we go as individuals, but also as a society? What's the next step? Where does our path take us from here? And so this is the theme that I would like to draw with you today. So I hope you have your materials ready, and I'm going to move this camera, so it's going to be a little bit crazy for a moment there. And then you can see my piece of paper and see what I'm actually drawing. So I'm going to do that now. Moving around. I've done that before. It works. Okay. And there we go. So this is my piece of paper. Okay, so before we start drawing, I would like to invite you to get into a kind of meditative state a little bit. So I invite you to just sit with your paper, your empty canvas there, getting ready to draw, and just take a few deep breaths with me. Just really feel the breath in your body. And now we're going to take 3 breaths, and I'm going to guide those breaths. So inhale first. And now think of everything that you don't need from this day, everything that's past, everything that happened before this moment, and just exhale it. Let it out and let it go. Inhale again. Deep inhale, and everything that is in the future from now on, everything that happens after this, just exhale it and let it go. And now let's take one more breath to arrive in this moment. Deep inhale and really settling into your body, into the now, here and now. And with that, I'm going to start drawing, and I'm going to use... So to start with, it's good to use a kind of medium thin pen. It doesn't have to be super fine, but not too thick either. And it basically doesn't matter. You just use what you got. Okay, so we got our paper here. And what we will draw is just very simple lines. So I'm starting on one side of the paper and I'm just moving my pen however it wants to move right now over the surface. And going again, going a different path this time. And the only rule there is to these lines is that they are not straight and they don't have a clear pattern, so it's not like a sinus curve or anything like that. They can overlap, interact in a way, and they just move from one side of our drawing to the other. So these lines now represent all the different pathways that are possible right now. We are in a moment where everything is kind of open, where things are shifting, things are changing, and in changing times there's always a lot of possibility, a lot of opportunity too. So we're going to draw, I think, like about 9 or 10 lines, I would say. Not too many. You don't want to get confused with too many different ways. Then it's kind of hard to choose in the end. Maybe one more. And they can really move however they feel. There's no rules in this. Okay, now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to do one more. And while you draw, also feel your breath. It's always good to keep breathing, not to hold your breath. I'm going to go over a few lines again, and they don't have to be exact. I'm just going to follow the same path one more time because I think this may be an important path. So you can also just go over a line that you think has some kind of significance maybe. And all this, of course, is not based on any thoughts or any analysis. It's purely based on your feelings. Maybe this one. And exhale when you draw the line. Deep exhale. Let all the air out fully. Do this one more time. And then also just check in your body how it feels to draw these lines. Do you feel calm? Do you have tension anywhere? And also, where are your emotions going? Maybe that is also interesting inquiry. How do you feel? Where are your thoughts? Just really be aware while you're drawing. This one. Okay. Okay, so now I hope everybody got some lines as well. And now just take another moment to rest. Look at your drawing. Feel into your body and really feel like what comes up. Maybe any feelings comes up, memories comes up, all kinds of stuff can come up. Doesn't have to though, of course. And now choose an area in your drawing that catches your attention. For me, often those are areas where I have a lot of lines interacting, a lot of lines crossing. So you choose an area and then you draw a circle around it to give it some more emphasis. This area here is, for some reason that I don't have to consciously know, is important for me. And of course, these circles don't have to be perfect circles. And you just slowly move around the circle several times and just feel into it again. Breathing and observing. Then whenever you feel your circle is very clear, you look if there's another area somewhere. For me, this area kind of also sticks out. And these circles can have any size and can be in any place on this surface. Just drawing around, and you basically focus your energy in this area that you're circling. And even though we don't know what kind of thoughts there are or which road is going there right now, there's some energy there, you know, from what I was drawing before. And I'm feeling a third little circle right here, so I'm thinking maybe 3, maximum 4 circles I would do right now in your drawing, not to make it too confusing and too many things. And just slowly move around, and it's totally okay if it's not perfect, and you can make it a little bit more round with every time you circle it. And just bring your attention to this space. Then we take another short break, taking another deep breath. And now comes a part of the drawing that can be a little bit complicated. That's why I am putting it on a separate sheet of paper to just show you with a bigger pen maybe. Okay, so let's imagine we got those lines. My lines, they're crossing here. And then I have these spaces that develop between the lines. So we're focusing on those now. We have the lines and then we have the spaces in between. And we want to create harmony. And harmony we create by connecting these lines and creating round corners. So we got like here, this is a kind of like cross. It's a very, see the crossings, they are very hard. There. And there we got some crazy crossings. And there we got another crossing. So we want all these crossings to kind of lose their harshness and to get a little bit more soft. And we do that by concentrating on the inside of this now. So I'm going into the space and just imagining there's this kind of egg lying in the space. And then I'm filling out the corners. So now I don't have corners anymore. Instead, I have this round space in the middle and I have my lines connected instead of crossing. Do the same here. Just go around and whatever shape appears, basically, we just go around and create a rounded shape out of it. And making the corners disappear. I show one more time and then we go back to the drawing and do it there. Okay, so I hope you get the concept. So now we have all these spaces round, and I would round here and here and here. So that here, for example, I have this hub now, and it's almost like a neurological connection in our brain. This is what it looks like, and this is what is the function of it too, in a way, because it's connecting now. If we think of all our lines in the drawing as thoughts, even though we may not know what we were thinking, these represent thoughts. And now we're connecting these thoughts together in a visual way. So we do this kind of thing all over this drawing now. This is why I said not to make too many lines, because otherwise this is a long and tedious process. It doesn't have to be perfect right now. And I'm just going to start here. And as I said, I'm going over my lines one more time. And then just filling in the corners. And it doesn't have to be all tidy. It can be a little bit messy. That's totally fine. And there can be little gaps and stuff. It doesn't have to be perfect. So we just want to make this appear more round, more harmonious, more connected. And the interesting thing is, like for me, this process always in the beginning feels like very tedious and very like exhausting, and I almost think like, oh my god, I'm so overwhelmed, there's so many lines, how am I ever gonna do this? But if you get into it, this is the most calming part, because you're literally creating connections inside your drawing and at the same time inside your mind, inside your brain, and you're just following all those lines again and making them rounder and more harmonious and connecting the lines. It's also a little bit like looking at the space between. And for me, it always feels like I'm reading between the lines. It's like this, that is a kind of saying that we have in, like when we read books or something, there's like meaning between the lines. And I'm thinking of this kind of the same. There's meaning between the lines here. So I'm looking at the spaces that were created by my interconnections of the lines. And I'm going to concentrate on the things that appear inside my circles first, because those were the things, the areas that I found very important. And then also around the circles, it's nice to not have any lines sticking out crazy out of the circle, but like this, they're all kind of smoothly flowing out. There. And also, of course, feel into yourself and feel what happens in your body right now. I often have little blockages or places where I feel tension and clench my jaw, for example. I pull up my shoulder, or I pull up my feet weirdly, or my legs. And it's very good to observe these things, because they can tell you things. It's not so much about correcting it in any way, but more about really just being aware of how your body feels, and then looking into your emotions, just finding if anything comes up in this process. So I hope this rounding works for you. It's nice if you can take a lot of time with this, especially in the beginning when you just start drawing like this. It's really nice if you can just take your time with it. I'm doing a little bit like the fast version because we don't have forever. But just so you get the idea, and you can always draw more. That's the nice thing about the drawing. It doesn't have to be finished at any point. It can always be more. And it's really also interesting what kind of shapes develop, or what kind of shapes come up in all these spaces and really just see if you have any associations with them. Shapes can have messages for us. It's like a subtle language that is not really through words, but it definitely still communicates with us, and I always think we can all feel it. We all subconsciously understand the lines and what they communicate with us, even if we don't know consciously. But this is also what this drawing technique is about. It's to connect the conscious and the subconscious mind with these lines, with this process. Don't forget to breathe. If you feel stuck somehow, or if you feel like a tension somewhere, just take a big exhale and blow it in there. Okay, slowly getting there. Well, you can already see it's more connected. No, this is more like one thing now, while these lines are still kind of just lines. And now this turns into something beyond the lines. And as I said, it really doesn't have to be perfect. This is one of the really nice things that I love about this practice. It's not so much about what we are drawing and the actual result of it, but much more about the process, about the meditation, about our feelings that come up. And it can bring new insights because we kind of get out of the everyday mind and go into a mind that's kind of looking between the lines, really. Looking at unexpected things. And maybe something comes up, some shape tells you something that you have not considered so far. There we go. Okay, now I'm gonna go outside of my circles and round a little bit more there, but here I'm really going to be a little bit messier to make it quick. Just round like the corners that kind of bother me, that are really, it's nice when things around the circles, when they're kind of nice and round. This doesn't have to be so perfect. Just feeling into all these spaces. So I hope you're slowly getting there too, and if not, as I said, that's totally fine. If you have like a area of your picture rounded, that's also good for now. Then you can connect it more later. If you feel like it, you can continue drawing. And another nice thing is like all the lines that go outside of my picture now, that means kind of like the picture can go on outside of my canvas too. If I wanted to, I could just glue another piece of paper on there and just continue my line outside, which is really nice too. If you feel like your way is longer and you want to look what's up ahead over there, you can always go and look. So our theme that we had in the beginning, it doesn't have to be that you're thinking about it consciously all the time, but you can just see what comes up. So it doesn't have to be that you're thinking about the path and the way we should go as a humanity now, but just see if anything in this drawing calls your attention and kind of has a message for you. Okay, so I'm going to leave it like this now, because the next step is coloring, and I really love the coloring part, so I don't want to miss it. So I'm having these wonderful pencils, and with the coloring, you don't need so many. I just intuitively grab any color. So there is no right or wrong in color, and we don't have to follow anything right now. We only follow the feeling. So just grab your colors and pick any one that calls your attention right now. And then you just start somewhere in this drawing. And this is really, all these little parts, they are completely intuitive. So I just picked this color right now, and I'm going to start right here. And our goal here is to connect more areas. And that doesn't have to mean that you stay within any lines. So I'm not coloring one little part or something. I'm just coloring some area that calls for this color for me right now. And then I go to another part and color a little bit more over there. You don't have to fully fill in the colors into the spaces. You can just follow a line, for example, with your color. Oh no, it broke. That's terrible. Can go old school. So yeah, you can just follow a line with your color. You can just move around the picture, and then you pick another part. And your areas can be as big or as small as you feel like. Can be extensively coloring, can be coloring just a little bit, and also not all the areas in the pictures have to have color, because we say black and white are colors too. Not in the, well, yeah, basically our eyes see it, so it's color. So black and white here count as colors. So you can just leave areas white. So this coloring process is really totally intuitive too. And yeah, you can leave areas free. You can just fill in a little bit. Fill in some more. Until you feel you've maybe done enough with this one color, and then you just take the next one. I need a little bit more of this. I like this color. And the nice thing with pencils is that you can like create areas where it's more strong, and create areas where it's a little bit lighter. You can just play with it really, so it doesn't have to be any certain technique. You see, I'm just drawing with this little piece that broke off. So yeah, this is a nice thing that you can do with children easily too. So it doesn't have to be inside the lines. There is no right or wrong here. It just goes over. A little bit more here. And then you just feel into yourself again and see how that color feels to you and where it wants to go. And really just let the color communicate with you. Really just ask it, where do you want to go? And then it's gonna come up somewhere, and then you can just put it to the side and pick another one. I'm gonna pick this one now. And you can put two colors together too. Now you can overlap them. They can combine. If you have pencils that mix, it's really cool because they create new shades, new colors. And then you just go through the drawing and see which area is called for this color. And just go with it. And there's really no right or wrong. One of my artist friends told me like the best thing about when you feel like you're doing something wrong. She says it's always good if you feel like you ruined the painting or ruined the drawing. In this case, you can just yell out loud for a moment, "Oh no, I've ruined it forever," and then you just go back to drawing. That really helps, and I always have that in my mind, and it always helps me. It's good to not take it very serious, especially with these processes, because as I said, it's not really about the result at the end. This is much more about the process. And so just observe yourself again, observe how you feel, observe if anything is coming up. If these colors trigger something for you, if the bigger shapes that just appear now, if they tell you something, what they speak of. And you can also just line out. Just fill in just a tiny little bit. And the white areas are totally fine too. So I'm gonna go with the next color now. For me, this circle here in the middle has significance. And this color is just kind of spreading out. And you can really go over again and again and again. Put something under this. Make it as strong. I mean, you can't make it weaker. So it's probably a good idea to start kind of light, and then when you feel, oh yeah, this needs like a strong blue, then you can always push more, make it stronger. You probably all learned that coloring is very calming, since there are adult coloring books nowadays. And I kind of like that it's not really a specific thing that we're coloring, but that we're just coloring areas, shapes, just looking into the different shapes, see how they're interacting. And you can use as many colors as you want, of course. And really just enjoy it. Don't forget to breathe. I have often that I'm holding my breath, and it's really good to become aware of that. Changing my color one more time. Go with this one. Just letting it flow. Whew. With the breath. I feel my breathing pattern is a little bit different than when I just draw the lines. Just observing. Maybe any emotions come up with the colors. Colors are often connected to emotions, or we can awaken emotions with color. And then there's like a little story evolving in the drawing. We have like these things communicating. And of course you can spend as much time as you want coloring too. It's funny, sometimes I draw a picture and then a day later I go back and color some more or draw another line. I'm almost done with my coloring. I mean, you can always color forever, basically. There's always more that you can do, and a little bit. And as I said, it's like you can overlap the colors. They can like just merge into each other and just make it a lively drawing. And well, the most important part is not that it's actually pretty, but just that you in your very own, very individual way think that it's nice, that you kind of like it and you feel comfortable with it, and that it kind of speaks to you. That is really the most important part here. So you can just keep going until it speaks to you and see what comes up. So, but I'm going to continue with our next step. We have 2 more steps in this process, and I'm taking a marker that is slightly bigger. So here, for this step, also Sharpies are really good. Like this, for example, that would totally work. And now, while I was drawing, I had the feeling that this circle is kind of like the central and the most important figure in this drawing for me. So I will outline it fat. Make it more important. And just with a marker, go around a few times. Doesn't have to be even. The reason we do that is just to emphasize it. So yeah, I got an emphasis there. And then I'm choosing a line that I think is also very important. So I'm basically choosing the way that I want to go now. I'm choosing my path. And for me, it's this line that I've outlined from the very beginning, kind of bigger. That's the one that really speaks to me, and it also goes through the circle. And you don't have to follow the line that you had outlined before. You can alternate it, you can merge into other lines, you can create completely new lines as well. So it's more important that it speaks to you, that it has the power to impress you, that it communicates something with you. And it doesn't have to have one thickness. There can be areas where it's thicker and thinner, like with this kind of marker that's very easy to create. It kind of automatically happens. And because we are talking about the one path that we want to go, I'm only going to do one fat line. In many NeuroGraphica drawings we make several fat lines, and I'm always thinking of them kind of like a river that moves through my drawing, and it kind of nurtures my drawing. And in our case, it's also the path that we want to go, or that we will go. Maybe we don't even know it yet, but this is going to be the path if I want it or not. And yeah, then you can again kind of smooth out the edges a little bit. With this, now I have here, for example, there's another corner. I'm going to smooth out like we did in the second step, or in the rounding step, just to have this line connect to everything, because that is its function. Its function is to connect to all the other lines, connect to the entire drawing, and infuse it with energy. Because this whole drawing is very much about energy. And about a new path that is opening up right now, new possibilities. Well, for me, a few little things came up about my life, things that I'm aspiring to right now, and that I want to align with. And so it's really good to have this drawing now to remind me of it. I have like this one circle here in the middle that has like a lot of colors. So all the colors from the drawing are in this one circle, which for me makes it really important and gives it a lot of emphasis. And right now I'm also rounding a little bit around the circle, because when I made it more fat, some of the lines became kind of cornery again, and I want it all nice and round and beautiful, harmonic. There we go. So yeah, just see which part of your drawing is the most important for you and what you feel about it. And it doesn't have to be so much that you could give that a name. I mean, I could probably give that a name, but it doesn't have to be. You don't consciously have to know what part of your life this is. Just let it flow, and maybe put the picture somewhere where you can see it, somewhere where you can ponder on it, somewhere where maybe you can just keep drawing just a little bit more, and just getting deeper into that feeling of the drawing. So these drawings are really much more about the feeling than the actual things that you see. Now, this for me has a certain feeling that I find very soothing. I find it very impactful in a way. It speaks to me. It has little messages, and these messages can help me in my everyday life. So I hope that you found some messages in your drawing. I would love to see your drawings. I'm gonna move the camera again and say goodbye in real life. Oh, okay. Here we are. Hello. Hello again and goodbye. So yeah, I would love to see your drawings, love to hear your experience, what this did for you. Maybe something came up for you, maybe you had some insights. And if not, don't worry, that's totally fine. And it might actually come overnight in your dreams, tomorrow, next week. Just stay with it. And as I said, the most important thing is that you like your drawing and you feel happy and comfortable and, I don't know, somehow comfortable with it. Like, I feel very comfortable with mine. Show it again. So yeah, let me know what you feel. And I wanted to mention a drawing course that is a little bit more complex than this, with the same technique, that I'm offering in the beginning of May. You can find it on my website, neuroartproject.net. And in that workshop series, we will draw trees with lines like that. And they will be basically your life tree. And the interesting thing with the tree model is that it allows you to grow an area in your life that you choose to grow. So you choose a topic before you draw, like we did right now, like I did. I chose the topic, where are we going from here? What is the path? And in the tree class, you of course choose your own topic, and then we draw it, and I will explain the drawing process step by step, just like I did right now. And then in the end, you will be able to draw your own tree and draw 1,000,000 trees. Oh yeah, and I can also mention I'm donating to grow actual trees with Tree Sisters. So every tree that we draw, we'll plant some trees too, and we'll do some good in the world. So yeah, if you're interested in more drawing, I also have some more drawing sessions on YouTube, free ones. So if you just want to check out those, that's great. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope to see you again, maybe sometime, and draw some more with you. And yeah, have a great day. Enjoy the colors and the flow and the shapes and maybe the insights that came for you. And that was Antje with the drawing art meditation. I hope to see you. Bye bye.